Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another edition of the Motor City Mad Mouth Show. I'm at the Motor City Mad Mouth. Steve Ballesteri back for another week. Glad to have him. Trent Clark is in the house. Candy Ebling and perhaps Eric Katz will be in the house. We'll see when he shows. He'll be in the house right now. He's not in there.
Wait a minute, Scott. Trent is not in the house. He's in the car. Come on, he's traveling.
I'm mobile. I'm mobile tonight, man. I'm going mobile in your house. I'm going mobile.
All right.
That's okay. We'll take you any we can get you. I have a busy agenda today. Want to get to it? Trent, you got an hour, right? That's what you said. From an hour from the minute you log in, right? Right. Okay. Good stuff.
Yep.
Because you know what? Everybody likes to shop at Amazon, but I'm going to give you the Walmart story. How does that sound? The poorest member of this family is worth $1.7 billion, and they make $100 million per day. And most people don't even know their names. This is $342 billion, the Walton dynasty. Yeah, no relation to John Walton and the Waltons. Oh, sorry, but this is Waltons. And by the way, for our whatever sort, they own the Denver Broncos. Okay, but Sam Walton actually founded Walmart in 1962 with the idea of lowering prices to everyday. 1962 is a good year. I was born. Okay, now that I think about it, with the idea of offering low prices to everyday people, and this vision grew into the largest retailer on the planet. Today, the Waltons collectively control over half of Walmart, with a combined fortune worth over $200 million. Their wealth and influence stretch far beyond retail, making them a symbol of how business idea can change generations for lasting legacies. Let's go to the scoreboard, people. I love going to the scoreboard. One of my mentors, Andy Lascano, used to talk about going to the scoreboard. Well, obviously the strategy worked because Walmart exploded into a global force, only 10,500 plus stores. That's all. 1.6 million U.S. employees. That's not too bad. They have $600 billion in annual revenue, more than Amazon, Costco, and Target combined. When Sam died in 1992, left his fortune to his children. Today, his heirs control 50% of Walmart stock. The stock prints cash like a machine. The family fortune, over $432 billion. I can't count that high. I'm not a math major, but you don't need to be a math major not to count that high. That's more than the GDP of Greece, Portugal, or New Zealand. Guess what? I haven't been to Greece, been to Portugal, New Zealand. That's on the way at some point. And let's talk daily income. The Walton family earns $100 million per day from Walmart shares. Even during recessions, they rarely lose. To put it in perspective, the poorest Walton and Walton Cronkey is worth $12.7 billion. That's more than Oprah. Oh, my goodness. Steven Spielberg and LeBron James combined. But they aren't just empire builders. The Waltons also have massive philanthropists. Since 2000, they've donated over $5 billion to education, arts, and community projects. The Waltons Family Foundation focuses on charter schools, environment conservation. Of course, conversation is what we're doing. And expanding access to education in unserved communities. There we go. In 2022, the foundation gave $1.4 billion in grants. They also pledged $750 million to improve Arkansas public schools. Got to hand it to the people in Arkansas. They can use all the help they can get there anyways. I understand it's not the richest state on the planet, hardly, and backed efforts into protecting the Colorado River. Cool place. Critics say Walmart hurt small businesses. Supporters say it created millions of jobs, but the truth is clear. The Walton built the most powerful retail empire in history. All right, Steve, there's the Walmart story. Give it to me.
Well, I'll give you a good one. Sam Walton's second oldest son, John Thomas Walton,
okay,
voluntarily enlisted in the U.S. Army during the Vietnam War, became a Green Beret, and was, against his father's wishes, went to Vietnam, and he was assigned to the Military Assistance Command Vietnam Studies and Observation Group, which was probably the most badass military unit that we've had during that time frame by far. And I still consider them one of the top military units of all time. They did all the highly covert stuff, crossing the border into Laos, Cambodia, North Vietnam. So John Thomas Walton, yeah, did his time in Vietnam. He could have, rode daddy's coattails and not gone to Vietnam. But unfortunately for him, he when he got home, he worked as a pilot, a crop duster, and he was heavily involved with children's charities as well. But he died in a private plane crash, I think, in about 2005 or 2006, somewhere in that time frame. But I knew a guy that served in Vietnam with him, and I was like, man, I mean, being from the Walton family, right? You would think he would have opted to get a nice cush job somewhere. Nope. He put his butt on the line and served with distinction over there, which my hat's off to him. But the family, I mean, they would lose money stopping on the street corner to pick up $100 bill. Because it's like the amount of time they would take to bend over to pick it up, they would lose money. But good for them. I applaud all their charitable, endeavors, and that's their way of giving back, and they take care of their employees for the most part.
Okay, all right, Trent.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about John Boy Walton. That's a whole nother. That was the Dust Bowl of the Great Depression. The Waltons, right? Man, when you think about Sam Walton and what he did, and I think a lot of it comes back, and I don't know, I haven't read a lot on his bio, but just the idea of his second son and the values I think they had in the beginning. Now, I don't know if they've retained those values of Sam, the father, the founder. I don't know that, but my understanding was he had a very solid framework of values that he stood by, and for the most part, he built it based on that. And I think that's a pretty big deal when you're looking at all this stuff, right? So, $100 million a day in interest, 3.65 billion a year in just interest off the valuation you already have. Most people are never going to be able to spend that money in a year. To your point about picking up $100, like he couldn't pick up $100,000. It's $1 million a day. Like it's crazy, $100 million a day. So the numbers have become staggering, and we've seen it now with Tesla. What's his name? I'm sorry.
Elon Musk.
Drawing a blank. Elon Musk. I mean, the first potential trillionaire. I mean, it's almost unfathomable that someone's going to have $1,000 billion. Like, is that really a wealth that can be actually created in this world? And we already know the GDP for how many countries is nowhere near that. So I feel like, and they are very charitable, I feel like Arkansas should already be the #1 state in the country right now. Like, just giving off their money. But, a formidable legacy has been left, and I hope they do well with it. I'm concerned about that amount of value, and as it disperses, how it's done and what it's utilized for. But I hope there's some guardrails about what Sam really intended from the beginning, given what those original values are, but I don't know that.
Okay, Cassie, do you shop at Walmart?
I do.
Yeah, why do you shop there?
It's cheap, and
okay,
it's
so
cheap.
What do you think of the Walmart? Go ahead.
I was gonna say it's cheap, friendly customer service. You can buy whatever you practically want there, and it's a terrific brand. Especially it's basically Walgreens except upgraded.
I like that analogy. That's good. Walgreens been upgraded. Well, they're worth a lot of money. Candy, you want to give them a few basic facts about what we talked about as he came in here? Like that analogy, Cassie. Very good.
As of 2026, Walmart is the second largest company by revenue globally and the largest private employer in the world with 2.1 million employees. In February of 2026, Walmart became the first traditional retailer to be valued at over $1 trillion. And it's known for its product innovation. It's a publicly traded family-owned business. It is in many of the states and 19 other countries. It was founded in 1962 by Sam and James Bud Walton in Rogers, Arkansas. When it first opened up, its name was Walmart Discount City. It had that name until 1969. Then it was Walmart Inc. till 1970, and then it went to Walmart Stores Inc. It is publicly traded. It's traded on the NASDAQ. It is, let's see, it has 10,373 stores. And its revenue last year was $713 billion in revenue. Lots
Great
of money.
stuff, Candy.
Mhm.
Okay, so here, you know what? What happens when you run out of land? Well, guess what? Netherlands has an idea. Why do they have an idea? Because the Netherlands is running out of land at sea levels rise, so they're building floating neighborhoods, an innovative way to create new space and protect communities. These homes rise with the water instead of sinking beneath it. Here's how the Dutch are preparing for the future. Get ready for this one, people. The Netherlands has managed water for centuries using dikes, canals, pumps, but climate change is making these systems harder to maintain as sea levels rise. It continues. The traditional defenses are still important, but the government knows they can't keep water out forever. So they're adding a new strategy, living with the water instead of fighting it. Floating neighborhoods are not houseboats. They are stable, modern homes built on floating concrete platforms. When water rises, the homes rise too. The first large-scale project is called Schoonship in Amsterdam. It is 46 floating homes connected by walkways and shared systems. Candy, if we ever get back there, we got a lot of stuff we have to go ahead and check out Amsterdam at some point, but it's not in the near future, but we've seen a lot of it. Each home is designed with sustainability, solar panels for power, heat pumps for gas and rainwater collection and recycling. Floating homes solve two key challenges: rising sea levels and flood risk, lack of urban land for housing. The Netherlands is one of Europe's most densely populated countries. Floating projects create new living space without taking up more land. The design is highly engineered. The floating base is made, like I said, of hollow concrete filled with air to keep it stable. Homes are anchored to the seabed and they don't drift. Utilities like water and electricity run through flexible pipes and cables. When water levels change, the systems move with the homes. The idea is spreading beyond the Netherlands. Countries like Indonesia and the Maldives are exploring similar projects. Even U.S. cities are paying close attention. By the year 2100, hundreds of millions of people may be displaced because of rising seas. Of course, I don't know if I'll live to see that long anyways, but what are we, 2020? I know I won't. Floating neighborhoods could provide listen, I made it to the the bicentennial and a half, which is 250, I think, right? Floating, nobody's heard that one, but I made it up. The floating neighborhoods could provide a scalable long-term solution. The Dutch government developers are planning larger floating districts. Schools, parks, and shops could be all built on water. This approach does not replace flood defenses. It adds a layer of resilience by making communities adaptable instead of fragile. The Netherlands is turning a challenge into a motivation opportunity. is proving that climate adaptation is possible with smart planning and design. All right, there you go, Steve. There's another one for you. We definitely. What are your thoughts about this concept?
Yeah, I love it. Look, 3/4 of our planet is covered with water, right? So they're always talking about running out of living space. Well, we do. I mean, humans, we live on land, but there's no reason why we can't expand our horizons into the oceans. And I saw something, it wasn't that long ago, about this very thing where people are building out onto the water now. In fact, one of the shows I happened to tune in, they were building a huge soccer stadium that would sit on top of the water in England. And I love this idea. I mean, look, as our cities and urban areas, especially along our coastal areas, get more crowded, why not build out onto the water? Why not build under the water, for that matter, as well? You know, have cities underwater. I mean, we're basically not using 3/4 of our, Earth's surface. So I'm all for this. I think it's a brilliant idea, and it's the wave of the future.
Okay, Trent.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it does sound like the future, right? Like, I mean, makes a good point. Steve's talking about the mass of water, what our Earth is made of, right? But I don't think this is always so new, right? Like, Northwestern University was built over the water. Like, they dredged the sand out of the Great Lakes in the lower area in the Indiana dunes, took that sand out, built out that campus, and Northwestern was built out over the water north of Chicago on the same Great Lake, on Lake Michigan. And so this is a concept where they brought in and did fill to deliver on that over the water, of course, taking it from one other area. And then I'm reminded of like Sleepless in Seattle. I think that's the first time I saw those kind of floating houses, right? Like, hey, you live in Puget Sound and all of a sudden you get to live on the water, and hey, anything happens to the water, the house floats right up. Like, you're not getting sunk here, like. So that was such a cool concept to me, having not grown up around like a coastal city. I mean, in Michigan we do have coastal cities, but we don't have where if you're gonna live like that, you live in a boat, right? Like you live in a something to that effect. So that was the first time I'd really seen that homes like that. I thought, like, man, that makes perfect sense. You're gonna be in a area that's heavily water wet. So I think this is a natural matriculation of innovation that's happening. Netherlands have always been innovative, right? Founder of the windmill, founder of all these things. I mean, and they have, like, to your point, they had to figure out the water a long time ago. And so continuing to innovate and use technology, I think it just makes sense for the Netherlands. And resourceful country for sure. And not a bad soccer team either, by the way. So yeah, it's a good story.
Okay. All right, Catsy.
I mean, not a bad idea, especially with most of the planet made of water. I'm surprised the state of Louisiana, after Hurricane Katrina, did not adopt the idea. But it's great. It's great to be out on the water. That means that means if there's people in your life that you don't want them to come near you, you can just be on the water and they won't be able to come near you. So it all works out. And so obviously when these things become worldwide, though, I'm not sure if I'll even see it. As a matter of fact, if I see it, I'll probably be sitting in a nursing home begging the nurse to let me watch baseball. But they make me. But yes, it's a wonderful idea. I mean, the Netherlands is actually quietly really innovative.
Katie.
In the Netherlands, a country which is largely built on reclaimed land and a third of which remains below sea level, the idea is not so far-fetched. In Amsterdam, which has almost 3,000 officially registered traditional houseboats across its canals, hundreds of people have moved into floating homes in previously neglected neighborhoods. Yeah, like you said, Spoonship consists of 30 houses, half of which are duplexes on a canal in a former manufacturing area. Basically, each building runs its own heat pump and devotes roughly a third of its roof to greenery and solar panels. Residents sell the surplus power to one another and the national grid. The project was initially done in 2009. Rotterdam, which is 90% below sea level and the site of Europe's biggest port, is home to the world's largest floating office building, as well as a floating farm where cows are milked by robots, supplying dairy products to local grocery stores. Since 2010, launch of the floating pavilion, a solar-powered meeting and event space in Rotterdam's harbor, the city has been ramping up efforts to mainstream such projects, naming floating buildings one of the pillars of its climate-proof and adaptation strategy. If you think about it, I mean, yes, they're floating, but they are anchored to the shore, and that's so that they can move up and down. And with the currents, I mean, to me, it's kind of brilliant. If you think about like all the hurricanes that come through and stuff like that, that I can kind of see where you might need that. So I think it's smart.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. What I've learned about Netherlands, well, in fact, we've been there twice. For a small country, they're way more advanced than one people would really think. That's for sure. All right. Well, you ready to? Here's something good for dog lovers. Okay, Italy to launch first flight allowing large dogs in a cabin. We're talking about large and medium-sized dogs in a cabin. Steve, I sent you the photo. What do you think of it? Take a look at it real quick.
I did. I mean, and look, I saw this. There was a story about this on the New York Post not too long ago. I think it was just the other day. I could be wrong. Yeah, maybe it was a few weeks ago. But the New York Post posted about this, and that, you know, like non-pet lovers were up in arms that they didn't want a dog on the flight. Look, I know they put a limit up to 66 pounds between the dog and his carrier, you know, so it's not really a large dog. It's a medium-sized dog. But anyway, and the dog would be in a carrier and he'd be sitting in the seat right next to you. So I'm all for it because I want to bring my dog on plane and not put him, underneath where he'd be freaked out. So give him a Xanax, put him in his carrier, and he'd sleep all the way to, back to Boston, right? But I know that there was a lot of people complaining about this, and obviously they're not dog lovers, so I have nothing to say for it, right? But I'm all for it. Sign me up, Coach.
There you go. I got cats, so that doesn't apply. But Rusty's pretty good. The other two, oh my goodness, help me. All right, go ahead, Catsy.
I love it. My parents do it all the time. They take their Chihuahua on planes and they give him doggy downer. They give her doggy downers and she's asleep for the rest of the flight. It all works out. So, flying with a dog really isn't a bad thing. That's just, you have to just have the stuff that will help them on the flight so they're not barking up a storm on the flight. So, it all works out. I'm all for like whatever helps people move along.
All right, Candy.
So my question would be is, do they charge them the same as people because they're taking up a seat? So they would have to pay just like anybody, just like a kid. I mean, if you bring a kid on a plane, they'll get the seat next to you. And I mean, I can understand to a certain extent how it would be good, but I could also see where some people might be afraid. Those people are afraid or allergic to dogs. I could understand there might be an issue there. And that's where it's kind of a fine line. Like, what do you do? And then all of a sudden now you've got to disclose, because there are people that are allergic to dogs or pet hair or, the dander and stuff like that. So it becomes a health, something that we have to think about when we think about other people, just like peanut allergies. Like if somebody has a peanut allergy, nobody on that plane can have a peanut. And I've seen people have severe allergic reactions. So that would be the only thing I could see where there'd be a downfall to that. But yeah, I mean, hey, if I could take my cats, if I wanted to take my cats, if they can take dogs, I can take cats as well. And I don't mean Eric cats.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not on plum.
All right. Well, all right. So you want to come to Florida? I'll
Trent,
tell you what.
wait, here we go.
Who?
Trent.
Oh,
I wouldn't take cats on a flight either, by the way.
Oh, okay.
Not catsy. Like I wouldn't take real cats either, though. I wouldn't take catsy or real cats. A dog, maybe. Right? A dog, maybe. But listen, when I'm traveling, I would say 90% of my work is for business. I don't want to be sitting next to a dog. I don't even know if I want to be sitting next to a person, right? So, but I mean, these airlines are reaching. I'm shocked, like how important our pets have become. I mean, and they are. Like, I mean, I've seen it, and I've never had a pet in my lifetime that's been so close, like that, traveled with us, all that stuff. But I have 5 kids, so like I have my own pets, right? And so it's always interesting. So I think it's going to change because there's a different level of camaraderie, of companionship that comes in that. And since we're traveling and we become such world travelers, if that's your companionship, you want that pet with you. And I get that. I think it makes a lot of sense. And now that we're, a lot of remote and people are living half the time in the South and half the time in the North, and they want to do that, like this is natural that you got to transition, you got to transit. So, but I wonder if we're gonna have to separate like recreational versus business travel somehow. I mean, at some point it's gonna get tougher, I think.
Yeah, it was like, well, all right, here's a good off the wall one, ideally fit for the show. Okay, here we go, people. In Switzerland, flushing your toilet after 10 p.m. can get you fined for disturbing your neighbor's quiet time from 10 to 7, people. Flushing your toilet from 10 to 7 a.m. Showering late can disturb neighbors. Some landlords even ban it, Steve. Don't flush your toilet in Switzerland. They're saying what their team's doing well in the World Cup, and don't flush that toilet, otherwise it's going to get... Never mind. Go ahead, Steve.
Well, this is one of the ones I can't get behind. I'm sorry. I'm not going to leave the toilet unflushed, all night long. No, not going to do it. So obviously, I don't want to live in an apartment building in Switzerland. So I would love to visit, see the Alps, go to the Eiger and the Matterhorn and see all that. But nope, not going to live in an apartment building where I can't flush my own darn toilet. No, I'm sorry. They need to build better insulation for these apartment buildings.
Yeah, well, I mean, hear all the good things about Switzerland. This particular segment did not help their tourism at all. Go ahead, Trent.
Yeah, listen, man, like I get like some funky rules, and I am excited for Switzerland being in the top 8 teams in the World Cup. I think that's awesome. But I'm with Steve, man. I'm not moving there anytime soon. Plus, I hear most people can't afford it because Switzerland's expensive.
Yep.
And if it's so darn expensive, I don't understand why we can't have quality building materials that if I flush my toilet, I'm not like waking my neighbor. Because if that's the case, I question the quality of the materials that are being built into this thing, or the lack of up-to-date and quality plumbing. One of the two, something's amiss. And I think it's I know everyone likes their rest, but I think there's part of this. We're trying to. I think one of the things we forget in America is we have a lot of freedoms, right? And in other countries, we're conforming. Like we're gonna have to conform to this is when you work because you shouldn't be working from 10 to 7. This is rest time. Everybody needs to rest. Be on your rest time. And they're setting things up so that they command like a lot of order and a lot of assemblance. And I don't think order is a necessarily bad thing, but when you start trying to control everything, it gets a little dainty. In America, we don't understand it because we have our liberties, right? We get to work all night if we want. We have lots of jobs in America that you go to work at 10 o'clock and work till 7. So that's not uncommon. We're a production machine. So at the end of the day, it's very foreign to hear stuff like this in foreign countries, but I think it's what makes the world unique, right? It's what makes things different and fun to see. And Steve talked about the great places to see, and so it's nice that you recognize, hey, some places are just great to visit and maybe not so great to live.
Yeah. Well, I just think that law stinks. Period.
Oh, good one, Motor City. Nice.
All right. Well,
it won't stink till about 4 or 5, maybe.
Yeah, no kidding. Cassie usually comes up with them, but I had to get ahead of him on this one. Otherwise, he had to come up with that one too. Go ahead, Cassie.
What kind of idiot comes up with a rule like that? I mean, come on. I mean, you can't answer the call of nature at night. I mean, it happens. I mean, it's like awful, terrible. Gosh. So they're disturbing us now. If you really think about it, it's just they're disturbing us in reverse. It's just awful. Why? Gosh, like I'll go visit, but no way you're gonna make me go into one of those apartments. If I ever move to Switzerland, I'm buying a house.
Atta boy, smart man.
Well, I think here's the other thing too, is like to Kathy's point, like what's the next thing? What else makes noise between 10 and 7? Because other things are gonna make noise, and then you're not gonna be able to do that either, right? Like, we're gonna have to rule out anything that actually could be disruptive in any way, and that'll change the population of Switzerland.
Okay, Katie.
So it's technically not illegal to do that, but some landlords have put in their rental contracts talking about preventing pipe noise. Yes, one of them, some landlords include the toilet flushing clause that talks about quiet time laws. Many cities mandate quiet periods from 10 p.m. to 7 a.m. Some of the things that they prohibit are things that cause heavy vibrations or loud sounds. So like running washing machines or dryers, taking full baths, playing loud music, or walking around in heavy footwear. As I thought about this and I was reading how it said quiet time laws or quiet hours, I think back to my college days when I lived in the dorm, and during finals, they had quiet hours where you had to be quiet. You couldn't play music. You couldn't have your doors open watching TV. And I'm like, am I going back to my college days if I moved to Switzerland? It kind of sounds like it.
Okay. Yeah, the bottom line is I still go back to what I said. The law stinks. Okay, well, you know what? There's a reason why we get holidays off, but there's also a reason now we need to talk about the president that gave them national holidays. This is a good one. I love this one. Ronald Reagan, Martin Luther King Day, 1983, third Monday in January. Guess what's so interesting about this holiday? And I was actually living in Arizona, but for a period of time, Arizona didn't get a Super Bowl because they wouldn't honor the Martin Luther King holiday until they finally got it together and honored it at some point or other. But Reagan's responsibility for ML King Day. Rutherford B. Hayes, President's Day, 1879, third Monday in February. Lyndon B. Johnson's responsible for Memorial Day. Joe Biden, Juneteenth Day. Candy, we benefited because of Joe Biden. Really? Seriously? Really? You bet. And how did we benefit? Key West. Thank you, Joe. Appreciate that at least over Key West because Juneteenth they gave us 3 days. Grover Cleveland, Labor Day, 1894, first Monday in September. Franklin D. Roosevelt got us Columbus Day, second Monday in October. Woodrow Wilson gave us Veterans Day. Stephen and I can appreciate that. We're both veterans in our own way, right? I think it's November 11th. Abraham Lincoln got us Thanksgiving, 1863, fourth Thursday in November. Never thought about the Detroit Lions. He probably doesn't care anyways. Ulysses B. Grant was responsible for a bunch of these. New Year's Day, 1870. Independence Day, 1870. Christmas, 1870. Obviously, we're talking about July 1st, 4th, and the 25th. Okay. Let's see what else we got. Okay. And there you have it. So there's a tail of the tape for the holidays. Steve, what do you think?
I love it. We need more holidays, you know.
Yeah.
There should be more. I mean, I didn't realize Ulysses S. Grant gave us that many.
Yeah.
But good for him, you know. Yeah, I mean, look, I used to like it when we had more than, like, I know they lumped all the presidents together into one. I liked it when we had Washington's birthday and Lincoln's birthday and, you know, all that. But hey, it is what it is. I think we need more holidays. You know, let's come up with some good ones, folks.
Well,
Super Bowl Monday should be a national holiday. That's what I mean. They insist on having the games that night, and it stretches into late nights and whatnot. The Monday after the Super Bowl should definitely be a national holiday, and I think I'm going to write President Trump about that one.
Hey, you never know. Listen, this guy gets involved in the World Cup, New York Knicks.
Yeah. Basketball
games. My fault. What do you got to lose?
The Iranians complained about him getting involved in the World Cup. Did you see that?
Yeah,
that's okay. We all know about that. I'm going to bring up an interesting Iran topic on one of these shows too. I got some pretty good stuff. But yeah, maybe Trump will get involved with give it Super Bowl Monday, the day after. What do you think, Trent? Now you know where you get some of these holidays at, man.
Well, I think some of these presidents just want their name in the annal books of like doing something. So maybe this is how you get your name in there. So yeah, I could see Trump coming up with a holiday. He might be able to push Super Bowl Monday. I like that idea. I think Lincoln actually perfectly, given his tragic life and all his defeat, I think he was preceding Thanksgiving with the Detroit Lions. I think he knew the Lions were coming and he could see it in the future. Like, you know what? The Lions are a lot like my life most of the time. So like, I think Lincoln maybe had a premonition or something when he threw up Thanksgiving. And I mean, it is probably one of my favorite holidays. Obviously, we are giving thanks for all that we're given, and we are given a lot here in America, and we love that. Like, we are fortunate and thankful that we get to sleep under this blanket of freedom, which is amazing. And I'm always, it's got to be one of the best holidays of all time. Family gets together. My Lions actually have a chance of winning. I think they win more on Thanksgiving than any other game ever because they get to play on national TV once, which is nice. I know they're pretty good now, but that hasn't always been the case, right? And so, yeah, I think I didn't know that presidents had to do it, had to give the holiday. I mean, I thought that maybe act of Congress or something like that. So it's interesting that all these presidents were named. That was extremely educational. Thanks, Motor City.
Oh, you're welcome. Well, I mean, I never thought I'd be bringing the Detroit Lions on this show of all places. But hey, but you know,
the Motor City Madmouth didn't know we were going to be talking about the Detroit Lions. Come on, man.
No, but then everybody's talking. Yeah, but we're talking about Thanksgiving, so it was an easy opening to do it.
Yeah, easy opening. Yes.
All right, go ahead, Katsy.
Well,
John Wilkes Booth had something to do with it, though.
He was a Cowboys fan.
He was. Well, as far as the holidays go, I mean, I think you could probably quantify that. You can make the argument that was the only thing that Joe Biden was aware of that he did with the Juneteenth holiday. But it's but yeah. But as far as and I hope that he wasn't using an electric pen to put his signature on there as he was doing it. But but as far as the other holidays go, I mean, it's just important to understand, like, you know, where, you know, the importance of them. Yeah, a day after the Super Bowl, we definitely need that off. That is National Recovery Day because those parties go well into the night. I mean, everyone calls off anyway, and everyone calls off anyway, and and even when they are at work, there is no production to be had there. It's essentially like work becomes like Animal House, where 4 years of college is wasted. But it's important to know that there existed a world without those holidays where all those people in their suits would have to drag themselves into those office buildings and then come back out and do it again for days at a time. So we should all be thankful that the presidents made these holidays possible. And as far as Thanksgiving goes, I think Lincoln was actually a Cowboys fan, because the Cowboys are most known associated, because they've at least had some consistent relevance over the years, where they at least have some Super Bowl rings to show for it.
Ouch. That's trash, Catsy.
And an 0-16
trash.
And an 0-16 record.
It's just mean, Catsy. It's mean.
For the first 87 years of our nation's history, 1776 to 1863, there were no official national holidays. None.
Wow.
So Abraham Lincoln got the ball rolling in 1863 when he declared Thanksgiving to be a national holiday on the last Thursday of November. And then, then they all started to follow. So there's only been 2 since 1968. So yes, Scott, you hit both of them. Ronald Reagan created Martin Luther King Jr. Day in 1983, and then obviously Biden in Juneteenth Day in 2021. What I would say is some of the holidays everybody observes, and some of the holidays some observe, and it has changed over the course of time. I know working for a bank, typically we get all of it, or we used to get all of them. We do not get all of them anymore. We don't get President's Day. And instead they gave us a floating personal day, at least for the company that I work for, but not all of them are off. Is it not? Yes. I would love to have another day, especially in like February, March, those winter months that, like up north, who wants to be going into work? Super Bowl Monday would be a perfect day to have off.
Who was responsible for Independence Day, Motor City?
The colonists.
Let's see. I thought you did. Let me see.
I did somewhere out. She'll look it up real quick.
Then in 1870, President U.S. Grant signed off legislation to create the first set of national holidays: New Year's Day, 4th of July, and Christmas Day.
Yeah, the triple
crown. There you go.
Triple crown of holidays. All right. Our featured topic of the night: cheapest places to retire. Oh my goodness, I love this one. I definitely like this one. So let's go to the scoreboard. Okay, you've got Italy is one of them. Of course, I haven't been there yet. That's probably not in next year's agenda, but will be the year after. You got France, been there, love that place. Eiffel Tower, awesome. Then you have Greece, haven't been there, but it's inevitable. Spain, been there, awesome place. Going to have to get to Barcelona at some point. Costa Rica, oh, I hear that place is gorgeous, Steve, isn't it? I know you love that place.
Love Costa Rica.
Ecuador is on that list. Panama, never been down there. Let's see. Mexico. Well, just don't go to Tijuana. That's all I can tell you. Otherwise, it's a lot of the border. But Tijuana is bad. Then you got Portugal. Love Portugal. Of course, enjoyed soccer out there. First sporting event I've ever been to out overseas was that. Then you have Vietnam is on the list. So there you go, people. That's the list. See, what are your thoughts about the list?
Good places. Most of them I'd want to visit. I don't want to live in Europe right now, given the situation over there. Although Portugal, I might make an exception of. Portugal is very inexpensive. The street crime is really low there. The cost of living is cheap, and it's a beautiful place. Been there. But if you're asking me if I was going to retire overseas, absolutely, 100%. Send me back to Costa Rica, baby. That is a beautiful, gorgeous place. They have all kinds of tax breaks for Americans to retire there. Healthcare is good. Your dollar goes a long way down there, and and being there, you're only a couple of hour flight from being back in good old USA. In case you have to come back.
All right, Trent. What about you? You've traveled around the world a bit.
I have. I've traveled quite a bit in those countries right there. Just came back with Italy during the Olympics, and I would consider that as a potential retirement community. I saw some places there that I could see myself living in. But right now, I would probably side with Steve. I don't think I'd choose Europe given the current kind of political conditions right now as it goes. That would probably not be first, although Portugal during COVID 2020 was offering some highly incentivized programs to get over and offering dual citizenship and European Union citizenship for investment in the country if you bought property. And that was significant. Ecuador, I was there 2010 when I think they were number one expats at the time, which most people don't know. Ecuador uses the US dollar. And so that was an easy expat area. You didn't have to change currency, all that. Dollar went a long way. And I think what is really kind of become evident since probably, mid 2010, 2015, we saw that geo arbitrage is real and that there's a lot of beautiful places in the world we can live that is a lot cheaper and more inexpensive in America than America. But the trade-off is the quality of life, the potential. Steve mentioned healthcare. I mean, some things you may have to give up for that expense. So it's a catch-22. I don't see myself right now living an expat life today, but I wouldn't rule it out.
Katsy?
Well, it's I'd probably go to Costa Rica now that I'm hearing about the benefits of if you're a U.S. citizen and you go there to retire. It'd be awesome. It means I could because knowing how some of the rules are different down there. Actually, when I went down to Central America, because I've been to the DR and Puerto Rico, right. I joked with I actually told my parents I want to do everything that's illegal in the U.S. that's illegal there. But it sounds like a beautiful thing. But yeah, all the tax break stuff, sign me up. Especially having the water nearby. The rules are probably a lot more lax than they are in America. Oh boy, it would be a personal playground for me.
Candy?
Yeah, as I was reading up, one of the places is Colombia, and it says that you can live there, enjoy a simple, peaceful lifestyle in a traditional village for $1,000 a month.
Medellin, sign me up, man. Sign me up.
Yeah, well, I've never been to Medellin, but I was down there a couple of times during that era, and it's a beautiful country. It really is. And
it is. I mean, it has definite geographic diversity. It has snow-capped Sierra Nevada mountains, white sand Caribbean beaches, and the Amazon rainforest. So you have all of it that you can visit.
Cartagena's nice. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, well,
and if you like coffee, you can get a lot of coffee.
Okay, let's stay with the travel things. 7 things you should never do in Italy. Oh, you're going to like some of these. No cappuccino after 11. I guess I could see where that would probably happen with me. Don't have any of that after 11. I mean, in their case, they'd probably modify it to Diet Mountain Dew, Diet Coke. Okay, pigeon feeding fines. Venice can fine tourists actually in Europe, Europe, 500 for feeding pigeons around historic St. Mark's Square monuments. Don't feed the pigeons, people, or it's going to cost you a little bit of money to do it. I see this interesting picture of a woman doing it. Holy moly. Not a good thing. The Free Wine Foundation. Italy has a public foundation continuously pouring free red wine for travelers and pilgrims every day. Oh my goodness. No pineapple pizza. I don't like that. I'd break that rule all day long. I don't like pineapple pizza. Pizza culinary blasphemy and direct insult to authentic Italian cooking. I don't care. Give me the pineapples. Deal with it, people. The bread rule in Italy, bread traditionally accompanies meals and should never arrive before the main dish alone. Don't tell that to the people that we do business with here right down the street who are supporters of the program. Don't know the name of the restaurant offhand, but I do know the people. We go there every Friday night. Let's continue the no touching the pasta. I don't think Tommy Lasorda would like this one, but cutting spaghetti with a knife in Italy instantly identifies someone as an inexperienced foreign tourist. What the hey, people? You get a lot of us that come there and finance your POCKETS. And the historic water fountains, Rome's ancient public fountains still provide free, fresh drinking water continuously for millions of dailers visiting. And the dinner time rule, many authentic Italian restaurants refuse serving dinner before evening because meals follow strict cultural schedules. Okay, Steve, those are the things not to do in Italy, and I probably would break a few of those rules anyways.
Yeah, we've gotten away from some of those rules, especially the eating times. I mean, as a rule, they everywhere actually, other than the United States, they tend to eat late at night. And during my years when I was traveling all over the place, I got used to that, and I kind of liked it. I know we don't do that here in the United States, but I that was one of the rules that I kind of liked. You would go out at night, and you wouldn't eat till 10, 11 o'clock at night, but it was just such a better experience, I think. And that time people aren't hustling you to get you out. So you go to a nice restaurant, and have a great meal. The bread rule is something that we break, I guess. And again, I mean, Italy, cutting spaghetti with a knife. No, come on, that's not the way you eat spaghetti. So I'm all for that too.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but you really had me thinking on that one. Go ahead. Anything else you want to add to it? The pineapple pizza, people.
Yeah, the pineapple pizza. Well, I'm not a big fan of pineapple pizza, so.
Well, I'm not. I tell you, I'm not going to eat it there, but it doesn't stop me from eating it in these parts.
That's right.
Okay.
I mean, I'll eat it. I've had it and I've enjoyed it, but I mean, that wouldn't be my top choice.
Okay. All right, Clarky.
It's my top choice. Italy's off the expat list right now. As wonderful as it is right now, no pineapple pizza, forget them. That's it. I'm out. I'm out on Italy. I do love it over there. And I'll tell you, the one thing I do love is that the food quality just feels like so much better. There's like no preservatives. Everything is just, they don't label organic. They just come take it out of the ground and start making, right? So, you instantly notice the quality of the food. And we eat a lot of food in America. So we have a very good idea what we like, what we don't like. And you realize very quickly, if you have any, notion for health and wellness, that getting over there is very different. And I have a lot of friends and a couple sons that are gluten-free. They don't react well to gluten. Eat all the bread you want in Italy because they know exactly how to knead that gluten out. They don't have gluten in their bread. You can eat it all day and all the gluten allergies are nowhere to be found in Italy. So it's quality over quantity over there, man. And I think that's one thing that sometimes I think people in other countries get figured out, that quality matters.
Yeah, that's a great point because there's a show, the actor Stanley Tucci. He travels all through Italy. And I love that show because everything they eat, like you said, is fresh right out of the ground, right? And you look at it and you can tell how good it all is. I love that show, and I wish we ate more like that.
Yeah. Wow. Stanley Tucci reference, Motor City. What'd you think of that? Little Devil Wears Prada. Nice.
That's a great movie. That is a great movie.
Both of them are great. Tucci
They
stars
are.
in the second one.
The second one's good.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Okay, Catsy.
I think I'd want to go to Italy. It sounds great. I'd love to be able to. I heard the food is fantastic. They are. It looks like a fantastic place. Rome. I've always wanted to go see the Vatican, as well as the Colosseum all over. It looks like a fantastic place to see in Europe.
Candy.
Yeah, I mean, one of the other things that I was reading is you're never supposed to put cheese, even Parmesan cheese, on fish pasta. They don't like that because it ruins the delicate flavor and deeply offends the Italian chefs. Hey, I understand. I mean, eating fresh, I think this country is trying to get back to that. I think we're having a hard time doing that because we're so used to some of the processed foods that we've been accustomed to for so many years because we wanted to eat cheap, we wanted to eat, and I think we're realizing that is causing a lot of the health issues in America. So I know for a fact, like you and I, Scott, we're trying to eat healthier, eat more natural, eat from the store, and even the store, like, I mean, I remember growing up, like my grandma lived on a 110-acre crop farm. And I remember going up there, and I was raised on sweet corn. And when I mean sweet corn, you would go in August and you would go, there was 10 of us in the family between me and my cousins and my aunt and uncles. And a couple of us would go out in the fields. We'd harvest the sweet corn. We'd bring it to the couple other people. They'd husk it. Then we'd cut it right off the cob right there. You'd parboil it, and then you would freeze it. And you would freeze enough for us to have all winter long. So I always had fresh sweet corn. And so when somebody popped a can of canned corn and wanted me to eat it, I'm like, what is this? I'm like, ew. I'm like, it just wasn't, the same. To this day, when I grew up, and this is going to age me because there was a fence between us and a farmer's land behind us. It had a barbed wire fence because back in the day, that's what they did. They had barbed wire fences. Along the barbed wire fence, we had raspberry plants all along, and we would go out there and we would just pop raspberries and eat raspberries. And I'll never forget the night that my dad chased kids with a cigarette lighter out there eating our raspberries.
So he's going to light them on fire. Wow.
All right, so here's a programming note. We're going to go Trent a hard out at about 8:45, 8:46. Is that all right with you? Just to hang in there for a couple more important topics. Can you do that for us, please? Because I'm
8:45. Got you.
8:45, 8:46, and I'm taking the thing with you and Cassie today that I've learned from soccer. Okay, called extra time if you're not here on time.
Oh, we're in extra time. Nice.
You're in extra time.
Nice.
But see, I learned a little something about soccer. All right, well, this isn't something that I really particularly like, but it's part of the business. Nobody's feeling sorry for this guy because Brian Koberger is tormented in prison and asked guards for help. They're making his life miserable, and he's been in the Idaho's maximum security prison, and his life is really difficult. He says, News Nation reports that we are aware of Koberger's complaints about what he considers taunting. Incarcerated individuals commonly communicate with each other in prison. Brian Koberger is housed alone in a cell. IDOC security staff maintain a safe and orderly environment for all individuals involved. So, I mean, and that's item number one. And he says that the inmates are making his life hell. As I continue on with all of this, because I'll tell you one thing, nobody's feeling sorry for what the crimes that this guy's ended up doing here with what he did to those 4 people that he killed. Now the problem is he's facing the reality of a maximum security prison in where nobody frankly cares about him anyways. You know, and let's continue the narrative with this guy. And that being the fact that we talked about News Nation, and of course the inmates are making it out. Steve, no sympathy for this guy, is there?
No, I'm sorry. I don't feel bad for him the least little bit. You know, there's a bunch of young people that whose life was snuffed out by this guy. So the fact that you're complaining about your life in prison bothers me not a bit. In fact, I wish they could execute this guy right off the bat. He doesn't deserve to breathe the air that the rest of us do.
Well, I agree. Death penalty is appropriate for what this guy did. Trent?
Yeah, I don't know who he's appealing to for sympathy. I mean, you know, we're not a nation of heartless people, but at the end of the day, you have consequences for your actions. And if you don't have to watch too many prison shows, Scared Straight, any of these things that go on actually in prison, to think like when you get the consequence for being a 4-time murderer, and that's that we know of, right? Like this guy's a bad dude and he's in with other folks that have made pretty poor choices. I don't think they have any interest in making this guy's life any better. I'm just wondering, how entitled might you be that you would go to the press and think like, hey, I've got some complaints, because this guy cannot be in his right mind.
Well, that's for sure. That is for sure. Catsy, I'm waiting. I need something so that we can bring out Catsy's personality here. This is definitely the topic to do it.
How was he even given a microphone? I might question. But come on, you murdered 4 people. And you're complaining about your jail life? No, I don't feel bad. As a matter of fact, I wish they would send you to a worse prison. It is just awful. I think the guy's making a fool of himself, complaining about his jail cell. Well, guess what, buddy? It's not like jail cells in America are hotel rooms. You murdered 4 people. You're lucky you're still alive, to be honest with you. You know, you are just you complaining about your jail cell. The victims' families that you murdered are certainly have a whole lot more to complain about than you sitting on an uncomfortable bunk in a dirty prison cell. Matter of fact, you know, he clearly hasn't thought about his actions, and if the death penalty is the move, I would hope that they use it on him, and I hope that there's a crowd of people to watch him.
Okay, Candy.
What makes him think that his voice is important enough when he silenced 4 voices that will never be heard from again? His should never be heard from again.
Okay. There you go. Rapid fire in the next 2. I have to get these in. Talk about a great going away present. The amount if fired. Do you know what Joey Napier got for leaving Florida? Get this, $21.7 million. They fired him. 50% was paid within 30 days of termination. Not only did he get that job, get paid, he also landed with James Madison University. Steve, some thought about Billy Napier getting a nice going away present from Gainesville.
Yeah, how about that? Nice work if you can get it. Get fired and get 21 million bucks. I mean, I wish I had a job like that. I'd fire myself.
Yeah, right. 21. Wow, that's a lot. And now he's going to be king over in James Madison. All right, go ahead, Trent.
Yeah, I've said this, I don't know how many times, uttered the words that Steve just uttered. Like, if I'm making over $12 million with a guaranteed $80 million contract of buyout whenever I decide to leave, please fire me. I mean, I'm gonna ask you to come over and fire me. Like, like find some dirt on me. I don't know. Like, I mean, it's guaranteed money.
Yeah.
Like, it's amazing that these contracts even exist. And I know, listen, no one wants to do poorly. No one wants ill will, all those things. But man, I mean, this isn't how contracts in America should run. You know, we were supposed to be incentivized, like pay to play, like you produce That's great. Love the extra bonus for, hitting 5 more home runs, blah, blah, blah. Like, that's great, but like some of these guarantees now are just getting utterly ridiculous.
Catsy?
Well, it's not the first time Florida has done that. They've done it. They did it with I think starting with Jim McElwain after he left very weirdly, despite having them ranked in the top 25 the first 2 seasons. They seemed to be building something. Kind of took a step back, and Florida decided to press the panic alarm because they so desperately want to return back to the Steve Spurrier or Urban Meyer days that they've literally become like the University of Nebraska, seemingly firing a coach every single year for not going to the national championship, which you could probably argue that if in World Cup terms that those two schools are the equivalent of Brazil. But they, it's college football, man. It's a nice gig because if you get fired, they're going to pay you out. I mean, unless you had the contract that James Franklin had at Penn State, where he had to actively be looking, you could, in theory, be sitting at home collecting paychecks every 2 weeks and just watching TV before you go back to work again. It's essentially it's your ticket to an early taste of retirement.
I have 2 topics I have to get to. Candy, make it quick.
Boy, did I do things wrong. If I get fired, I don't get paid. I mean, how backwards is this? The entertainment industry, because that's what that is. It's a business, but it's entertainment. They get paid even after they get fired. I work an essential job in an essential role, and if I get fired, I'm done. Boom, you're gone. Sign me up. I want one of those jobs.
Well, you know what? I'll put it this way. Be glad you don't live overseas, because our beloved president, maybe, I don't know, just kidding, being sarcastic, I don't know. Donald Trump announced 100% tariff on all movies made outside of the U.S. He's got tariffs. What do you think, Steve? Outside of the U.S. They don't have Hollywood up.
Yeah, he loves his tariffs, but I don't know. Hollywood isn't producing really good movies right now. There's a lot of stinkers there. So I don't know if I agree with this one. I think I like a lot of the movies that I'm seeing, especially coming from England right now. I'm a big Guy Ritchie fan. So
there you go. Okay, Trent.
Yeah, I think one of these things we lose is like the world has gotten a lot smaller, and we're finding this out, right? We're watching the World Cup. We're realizing all these fans are coming. They've got their cultural norms. It's fun. It's fun to see that people don't live like we do, right? And I think Americans need to thicken up their passports and go out there and see the rest of the world, so they'd really, really get an appreciation for what we have here. Because when you go, you get to see it in reality. You get to see how people live. And I think the dynamic that people are making movies and films in other countries is a little touch for that, for the person who can't get on a plane and go 6,000 miles away and afford a $2,500 vacation. So, I think that it's an error. I think it's part of culture. The world's gotten smaller through the internet, and we've become a society. And I think what's great about the world right now is that the world is full of people, and we're just not very different, right? And we want to love our families. We want protection for our kids. We want safety and security. We want to have our freedoms. And everybody just about wants the same things, man. When you talk about the 5 things that are non-negotiable, and it doesn't matter what country and what world and what culture you live in, they want those things. And it doesn't matter if they got a lot or they got a little, they want those things. And by the way, 2010, I'm in Ecuador during the World Cup. The Ecuador team is in the World Cup. And I got to tell you, those kids in Ecuador, they don't have a lot, but they all got a national jersey, and they all wore it like it was the best thing and the most important thing in that whole world. And I'm telling you, they were not unhappy because they lacked anything. They had their families, they had a little shelter, they had enough food, and they had their team. And man, when it came down to nuts and bolts about what was important, they knew the 5 things and they provided for it. That people got to go find that out and see that in the world, that everyone doesn't need a 5-car garage. Everyone doesn't need, all the stuff that we have in America, because you'll find out what's really important to people if they just get out there and see it.
Okay, Catsy, Candy, one last topic, and we're done.
Well, I'm starting to think that I'm starting to think about calling, instead of President Trump, I'm thinking about calling him President Tariffs, because he seems to use a lot of them as of late. But Hollywood is just garbage now. They don't come out with really anything good, although A Young Washington looked interesting. I haven't been to the movie theater in a very long time, because the movies today, like, unless you're gonna like go back and make a late sequel to like a classic movie, which I think is gonna end up being garbage anyway, no one wants to see it because they're okay with the first one. I mean, they didn't make an Animal House 2 for a reason, because the first one was so good. I mean, Toy Story. I mean, I love Toy Story, but I think they're starting to overdo it here with how many more times can you pass the toys? You might as well put them in at Goodwill at this point. It's it just why sometimes the overseas movies are significantly better than how the Americans do it, because let's be honest, we know what goes on in Hollywood nowadays. We've seen these directors and these big studio owners and everything that goes along with it, and some people that makes a lot of noise to them, believe it or not. They're not going to want to support those studios because of all the crap that's gone on there over the years. But go ahead, Mr. Tariffs. Keep trying to just Americanize everybody. But him and his tariffs, man. I think somebody should take away his tariffs and put him on the shelf until further notice.
Okay, Candy.
Hey, hold on, Catsy. Like, Angel Studios is in Salt Lake City, Utah, man. That's not Hollywood making Young Washington. They moved out of that and went right into Utah. So you're right. It's not coming out of Hollywood.
Over the last 2 decades, 38 states have shelled out more than $25 billion in filming incentives to get them to make movies in their state. As far as internationally, sites outside the U.S. not only offer enticing film incentives, but also cheaper labor and even healthcare in some, aspects. So now he wants to tariff because he wants it all done in California and Hollywood. Well, Hollywood is not a cheap place to live, to make, to even, like, if you're going to live out there for rent for how long, a year that they're making a film, it's not cheap. And taxes are really sky high as well.
Oh, trust me. When I worked on a couple of Hollywood films, what I saw, especially down in Mexico, what they were paying our Mexican crew members was criminally underpaid. And same thing when I was working in Morocco. Did a couple of films over there, war type films that they use for the desert. The Moroccan crew guys, they got nothing. That's why everyone's incentivizing it, because they're trying to get them out of California, and they're giving tax breaks to make movies elsewhere.
I think most of it's in Georgia now.
Yeah,
a lot of this stuff is moving. All right, I'll give you 2 reasons to stay out of the water in Florida as we wrap it up tonight. Number 1, okay, and this is 2 reasons. I'm not talking about jaws, people. I'm talking about creatures that have big jaws. Florida is the only place on Earth where alligators and crocodiles live together in the wild. Get this. Alligators and crocodiles live together in the wild. Steve, some thoughts?
Yeah. Don't want to mess with no saltwater crocs. I'm here to tell you. Florida, they had that woman just get killed. And then there was another guy that just got bit. I mean, this is their, I think, the mating season for the gators. So, but I've been to South Africa, and the saltwater crocs down there are huge. So I have a great respect for the gators and crocs here in the state of Florida, and I make sure I give them a wide berth because they're a lot bigger than we are.
Well, the only Gators I'm going to get close to are two. The Florida Gators, because I figure they're on the field, and the other ones will be the Gators that I can
Yeah,
shoot
but
for
they're
in the air.
toothless.
Exactly. That's my point. And the other one I'll get near are the ones that I'll take an occasional video right near a place that we're going to be going over the weekend. Real quick, Trent, Sports Exchange follows this show, and then we are done. Go ahead, Trent.
No interest in either. Why I'm not living in Florida, I don't have any interest. Everyone says, yeah, leave Gators, they'll leave you alone. Yeah, I'm not looking for the one time the chance that someone doesn't leave you alone. So have no interest in either one.
Okay, Catsy.
Well, I mean, that's what happened. I mean, Florida's hardly the first area to have gators and crocodiles. I know for a fact Louisiana does. But you know, actually, in some parts of the Everglades and elsewhere, with the amount of tourist stuff they have in Florida, you'll have people physically trying to wrestle the alligators and the crocodiles. Knowing Scott, I'm shocked. I'm shocked in his younger days he didn't get involved with trying to roll the gators. But they are very vicious creatures. And matter of fact, I've seen them end up in people's swimming pools because they'll mistake water. They'll go in anything that has to do with water because they like to be wet creatures. However, don't mess with them because their mouths are bigger than stop signs, and they can do some serious damage. But come to think of it though, with the way they live, I'm shocked Scott in his younger days wasn't the one trying to roll them over.
Sure, I was up in the Midwest. You ain't gonna roll them over up in Michigan.
Well,
Candy,
when you came down.
I know the places to swim, Candy, and I know the places not to swim. Go ahead, Candy, and then make a brief station break and put the Travel Channel up by logo.
I'm happy to see them at a distance, and that's as close as I want to get to any of them. With that being said, South Florida Tribune Publishing Company published a book, Lessons from the Microphone, Tuning into the Enduring Wisdom of Visionary Leaders. It's written by our host, Scott, the Motor City Madmouth Morganoff. Talks about his 40+ years in the media business. Go get your copy today. It's available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Kindle, Google, and Apple Books. The audiobook is also out there. There's a link on our website, www.southfloridatribune.com, where there's a plethora of great content, so go check it out. If you like to listen to podcasts, you can listen to your podcast. If you see the red subscribe button in the lower right-hand corner, that means you have not yet subscribed to us. Please do so. Hit the red subscribe button. The QR code in the upper corner is for South Florida Tribune. If you would subscribe to that, we also have a new YouTube channel. It's called Destination Discoveries Media Network. I'm going to put that QR code up now. Please subscribe. We talk all things traveling. Back to you, Scott.
All right, well, that shows me simulcast there. All right, Trent, let everybody know to get a hold of you real quick. And Trent, special thanks for giving us a little extra time in soccer. We all know that you're in the World Cup mode, so extra time. But guess what, though? We're going to be gone next week, so nobody has to put any time in. Go ahead.
Good. Glad I got my goal in on extra time. That's how you win when you're Argentina. You get your goal in extra time. All right. So, yeah, thank you. I'm Trent Clark, Trent at leadershipity.com. You can see me on my podcast, Winners Find a Way. I wrote the book, Leading Winning Teams, with Wiley Publishing. And you can find that on all your major networks. And that is in audio, that's in Kindle, that's in all sorts of versions. And then, of course, most people know me because I spent over 14 years coaching in professional baseball and 3 World Series. I coach the best of the best for organizations that want to win and be a championship team. Call me.
Okay, go ahead, Steve.
Yeah, I'm a national security editor, a senior defense editor for National Security Journal, I should say. And then I'm also a featured columnist for PatsFans.com. We've been covering the Patriots and doing a podcast for the past 16 years over there. We have a podcast coming up tomorrow afternoon on Patriots No Huddle, talking about training camp coming up. So we get to put all the bad news from Iran and Russia in the back burner for a couple of hours and talk some football.
Okay, Cassie, real quick, then we're going to go to the Sports Exchange.
You can follow me on my X account at Sports Team News. You can check out my writing at southfloridatribune.com, as well as I host podcast on here, and you can also check out my Substack. And if you think I don't like your team, I probably don't.
Okay, well, that does it for this edition of Motor City Man Mouth Show. So on behalf of Steve Ballesteri, Trent Clark, Eric Katz, and Candy, my name is Scott Morgan. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you in 2 weeks. Good night, everybody. See you in just a matter of a few minutes.